तो कैसे आप
Swear.
In this scene, in Universal's 2020 film, The Invisible Man, Elizabeth Moss's character is thrown across the dining room table by the monster. Nailing this shot wasn't easy. It involved 2 stunt performers, one of whom was in a green suit, various ropes, a VFX team, and the precise movements of a robotic motion-controlled camera. Now, compare that to the original 1933 film. The main character is also invisible, and while they did use some practical effects to move objects around, for most of the movie, he's simply covered in bandages. The new movie couldn't rely on just hitting strings and bandages for a cheap scare. It shakes you to the core by using innovative effects and smart filmmaking techniques to make the audience terrified of something they can't even see. An upgrade to a classic monster that is much more real and terrifying this time around. Now warning, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie. To see how far we've come, we have to look back to 1933 and to this man. Constructed some of the background to make the final shot cleaner. As director Leigh Whannell said in an interview with the Big Picture podcast, it's actually easier to add in a werewolf later than it is to subtract a stunt performer in a green suit. By rendering him completely invisible, it was up to the audience to guess where he was, without a floating hat or sunglasses to guide them. And when he made himself known through violence, it felt more like a real person was actually there attacking, which made the new film much more unsettling than the original. But not every scene required the actor in a green suit. Some of the most tension-filled moments were the ambiguous ones, when the audience doesn't know if Adrian is there or not. This required some clever cinematography. One way they made the Invisible Man seem so real without using any VFX was through frequent, calculated same robotic motion-controlled camera used for the kitchen scene we mentioned earlier had precise controlled movements just like Adrian, since the camera represents his presence in a lot of the movie. For example, in the hallway scene at the psychiatric hospital, watch as it quickly darts back and forth and even bends to the side. You feel like you're looking through Adrian's eyes as he goes on his murder spree. It has quicker movements than handheld cameras with odd, jarring angles. Using a robotic camera meant that actors had to get their timing right and hit their marks perfectly because the camera doesn't stop. It's programmed to go through a specific set of motions at a specific pace. By combining all of these elements, Waynell created a believable, terrifying character that we think is on screen but hardly ever see, without requiring any gimmicky bandages or cliched, spooky, dark sets. The Invisible Man managed to turn a small $7 million budget into a big scare, and it worked, ultimately, because it's often what isn't there that can scare you the most.